Something mind-blowing is about to shock the world in the spring of 2026.
One thing I can guarantee is that this product demo will be unforgettable.
Elon Musk and the brilliant engineers at Tesla are about to reveal their first flying car to the world, the Roadster 2.0. Yes, you heard that right. A flying car from Tesla. And this isn't some fancy prototype sitting in a lab that will never see production. This is likely the first of millions of self-flying Tesla cars that will fill our skies in the future. Stick around for this one, because as always with Elon, the sky isn't even the limit. Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into our channel. The future is now, and we are here to explore and reveal all the latest and greatest technological breakthroughs from around the world. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on our daily uploads. Now let's dive in. Right now, at this very moment, there's a vehicle sitting in a Tesla facility that defies everything you think you know about transportation. Elon won't show it, he won't photograph it, security around it is tighter than Fort Knox.
The future was supposed to have flying cars, but we don't have flying cars. I think if Peter wants a flying car, he should be able to buy one.
So are you actively considering making an electric flying car? Is this like a real thing?
Well, we have to see in the
demo.
For decades, we've been promised flying cars. Hollywood sold us the dream in every sci-fi movie from Blade Runner to The Fifth Element. Tech billionaires hyped the vision at every TED Talk and conference. Magazines put them on covers with headlines screaming, "The future is here." But nothing ever materialized. Nothing real. Nothing you could actually buy, get in, and fly to work. Just endless prototypes and concept videos and promises that went nowhere. We got so disappointed, so burned by broken promises year after year that most people stopped believing it could ever happen. Flying cars became a punchline, a symbol of futures that never arrive. The Jetsons lied to us. Back to the Future got it wrong. Every decade brought new promises and zero actual results you could touch. Except Elon Musk never stopped thinking about it. And when Elon keeps thinking about something, eventually he builds it. Back in 2020, while everyone else dismissed flying cars as pure science fiction, Musk revealed something crucial in an interview that most people completely missed. He didn't make a big announcement. He didn't hold a press conference with fancy slides. He just mentioned a number almost casually, like he was talking about the weather, 400 watt-hours per kilogram. That was the threshold, the exact battery energy density needed to make flying cars physically viable. Not theoretical, not someday in some distant future. Actually real and practical for everyday use by regular people. Why did he mention that specific number? Because Elon doesn't dream. He calculates. He was doing the math. He was planning. He was waiting for technology to catch up to his vision. And now it has. Here's what nobody's talking about. What the media is completely missing. That threshold has been crossed. It happened quietly over the last 2 years. No big announcement, no media celebration, no headlines screaming about the breakthrough that changes everything. But advanced battery companies are already producing cells that hit these numbers. Some are even reaching 600 watt-hours per kilogram. That's 50% beyond what Elon said was needed. They're being used in flying drones right now. In passenger aircraft that are actually certified by aviation authorities and flying real people. In Chinese prototypes that are taking actual passengers through real skies over real cities every single day. The technology isn't coming. It's already here. It's being tested. It's being refined. It's being manufactured at scale. And it's about to explode into the mainstream. Think about what's happening right now in China while most of America sleeps on this revolution. Companies like Xpeng aren't just building electric cars anymore. They've moved way beyond that. They're building cars with expandable propellers that fold out from the sides like mechanical wings. Vehicles that drive normally on regular roads and then, with the press of a button, transition to flight mode and lift straight up into the air. These aren't concept drawings on a PowerPoint slide. These aren't CGI renders for promotional videos. These are working prototypes being tested in real conditions with real pilots today, right now. This very moment, the Xpeng X2 is already flying commercially. It's completed thousands of test flights. They've demonstrated it at international trade shows where people can watch it take off and land. Journalists have actually ridden in it and lived to write the story. And it's not just Xpeng. Joby Aviation, a $12 billion publicly traded American company, is manufacturing vertical takeoff passenger drones right now in their California facilities. Not planning to manufacture, not hoping to manufacture someday, manufacturing. Today, building them on production lines. Archer Aviation is doing the same thing in their factories. These companies have billions in funding from serious institutional investors who don't bet on fantasies. They have FAA certification pathways that are actually progressing through the regulatory system. They have orders from commercial customers like airlines and ride-sharing services who are paying real money for real aircraft. This is not vaporware. This is not a scam. This is the aviation industry transforming before our eyes, while most people aren't even watching. Investors are pouring billions of dollars into this space because they see what's coming with crystal clarity. The infrastructure for flying transportation is being built at this very moment. And it's not a question of if this happens anymore. It's purely a question of when and who will dominate. And Elon Musk is watching all of this happen in real time. He sees Chinese companies flying actual prototypes over their cities. He sees American startups raising billions from venture capitalists. He sees the technology maturing faster than anyone predicted just 5 years ago. You think the man who revolutionized electric cars when everyone said it was impossible is going to sit this out? The man who made private space travel routine when Boeing and Lockheed laughed? Who created a global satellite internet network from absolute nothing? Who built the world's largest AI training cluster in record time? You think he's going to let someone else define the future of transportation? Let Chinese companies own the skies while Tesla stays on the ground? Not a chance. Not in this lifetime. Here's where it gets interesting, where the mystery deepens and the pieces start coming together. Remember the Tesla Roadster? That next-generation supercar Elon announced all the way back in 2017, the one that was supposed to come out in 2020, then 2021, then 2022, then 2023, then 2024? The one that kept getting delayed over and over and over, while Elon made increasingly cryptic comments that made less sense each time. There's a reason for those delays. And it's not because Tesla can't build a fast car. They've already built the fastest production car in the world with the Model S Plaid. That does 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. That's solved. That's easy for them at this point. No, the project changed multiple times, dramatically. The specifications evolved in ways nobody outside Tesla understands. The technology shifted, the entire vision transformed. Something much, much bigger was happening behind the scenes. First, it was just supposed to be a hypercar, the fastest production car ever made, 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, a top speed over 250 miles per hour, a 1,000-mile range on a single charge. That alone would have been absolutely incredible. But then Musk started talking about something else entirely, something that didn't make sense. SpaceX thrusters, cold gas jets that could be mounted on the car, rocket propulsion that could make it hover and accelerate with impossible force. He said it could do 0 to 60 in 1.1 seconds. That's not car performance. That's literally missile performance. That's fighter jet acceleration. That's G-forces that can make you pass out. And then the delays continued. Year after year, radio silence. And Musk kept dropping hints that something even bigger was happening. Something he couldn't fully reveal yet because it would blow people's minds. He started saying cryptic things that made no sense for a car. Things like, it's not even a car anymore. What does that mean? How is a car not a car? What else could it possibly be? He mentioned SpaceX technology being deeply integrated at a fundamental level. Not just bolt-on thrusters. Deep integration, core technology, performance specs that violated every known law of physics for ground vehicles. And now the unveiling is finally scheduled after years of waiting. April 2025, April 1st, and not just any random day. In April, April Fool's Day, that's either the biggest troll in automotive history or the most brilliant reveal strategy ever conceived by a marketing genius. Think about it for a second. Really think about the psychology. If Elon shows a car that actually flies on April Fool's Day, nobody will know what to believe at first. Is it real? Is it an elaborate joke? Is it CGI? Is it actually happening? Or is Elon messing with us? The confusion alone will generate more attention than any marketing campaign could possibly buy with billions of dollars. Every media outlet in the entire world will cover it. Every social media platform will explode with debate and arguments. The whole world will be watching and fighting about whether it's real or fake. And then, when people realize it is real, when they see it fly with their own eyes on live video, when journalists get in it and take off, the shock will be even greater. The impact will be multiplied by 100. The disbelief will turn to awe. It's absolutely genius marketing for the most important product reveal in Tesla's entire history. But here's what the analysts are missing, what the media doesn't understand, what even most Tesla fans haven't figured out yet because they're not thinking big enough. This isn't just about one flying Roadster. That would be a party trick, an expensive toy for billionaires to show off at private parties, a vanity project with no real purpose, a publicity stunt that sells a few thousand units and then fades away. Elon doesn't build toys. He never has in his entire career. He builds infrastructure. He builds systems that scale to millions of units. He builds entire industries from nothing. Everything he touches becomes a platform for massive transformation. Think about how Tesla actually operates at its core. They didn't just make one electric car and call it done. They built a global charging network with tens of thousands of superchargers across every continent. They created massive gigafactories that produce gigawatt hours of battery storage. They developed autonomous driving systems that improve with every mile driven by millions of cars. Everything Tesla does is about creating infrastructure for a complete transportation paradigm shift. Not just better cars, a fundamentally better transportation system for all of humanity. Tesla isn't going to compete with Chinese drone companies by making slightly better drones with marginally improved specs. They're going to rethink the entire concept from first principles, the way they did with electric cars when everyone said batteries would never work, the way SpaceX did with rockets when everyone said reusable was impossible. And the real innovation isn't just making cars fly. Anyone with enough propellers and battery power can stick rotors on a vehicle and get it off the ground for a few minutes. That's been possible for years. That's just engineering, not innovation. The breakthrough is solving the fundamental problems that have kept flying cars impractical for decades, despite having the basic technology. The problems nobody else has solved. The problems that make flying cars impossible to deploy at scale in real cities with real people. Imagine 1 million flying vehicles over Los Angeles right now. Actually picture it in your mind. Think about what that would mean in reality, not in science fiction. The noise would be absolutely unbearable. Thousands of propellers spinning constantly above your head 24 hours a day. It would sound like living inside a giant lawnmower factory. You couldn't have a conversation outside. You couldn't sleep with your windows open. Every outdoor restaurant would be ruined. The risk would be catastrophic. Objects falling from the sky constantly. Mechanical failures raining debris on people below. They'd crash into each other in midair like some nightmare video game. They'd fall on people's heads, on houses, on schools full of children, on hospitals, on crowded streets. The lawsuits alone would bankrupt entire cities. The insurance industry would collapse. Society couldn't function. The airspace would be complete chaos. Air traffic control couldn't possibly manage it. There's no system in existence that could coordinate 1 million vehicles moving in 3-dimensional space over an urban area. It would be like giving 1 million people airplanes with no training, no rules, and no communication. This is why flying cars have remained pure fantasy, despite having the basic technology for literally decades. The engineering is solvable, the practical implementation is the nightmare. But there's a solution, and it's so obvious once you see it. Once you think through the problem properly with first principles thinking instead of accepting assumptions. Flying cars need wheels. They need to drive the last few miles in dense urban areas. They land outside residential zones in designated landing areas and drive the final distance normally on regular roads. That solves almost everything in one elegant solution. Here's how it would actually work in practice. You designate specific flight corridors throughout a city. 10 routes across Los Angeles, 20 across New York, 30 across Shanghai. Defined planes of airspace at specific altitudes that are monitored and controlled, like highways in the sky. Vehicles fly through these corridors at high speed with zero traffic. No intersections. No congestion. No stopping for red lights. Just direct point-to-point travel at 150 miles per hour through the air. You could cross Los Angeles in 12 minutes instead of 90 minutes sitting in traffic on the 405. Then, they land in designated zones outside dense residential areas. Parking structures specifically designed for vertical landing. Big landing pads on the outskirts of neighborhoods. Commercial zones, industrial areas, and from there, they drive normally through neighborhoods. Quiet, safe, regulated. Just like any other car on the road. The noise stays contained in designated flight corridors away from homes. The risk is managed through advanced air traffic control systems that coordinate every vehicle with precision. The density is controlled by limiting corridor capacity, like highway lanes. And suddenly you have a transportation system that's actually viable for mass deployment, not just technologically possible according to physics textbooks, practically implementable at scale in real cities with real people and real regulations. That's the difference between an idea and infrastructure, between a prototype and a product, between science fiction and reality. This is how Elon thinks. He doesn't just ask if something is physically possible. He asks if it can scale to millions of users, if it can become infrastructure that transforms society. Consider the business model Tesla will almost certainly follow. They've done this exact playbook before, so we can predict the pattern with very high confidence. Start with a flying Roadster priced at $400,000, maybe even $500,000. Price it exclusively for the ultra-wealthy who can afford anything. Sell 20,000 units to wealthy early adopters over the first 3 years. They pay for all the research and development with their purchases. They prove the technology works safely in real conditions with real weather and real pilots. They create demand and generate massive buzz. They normalize the concept so it stops seeming crazy. They become ambassadors showing everyone it's real and it works. Then you scale down to the next tier. Make a Model S equivalent version for $200,000. Still very expensive. Still a luxury item, but accessible to more people. Upper middle class professionals, successful business owners, doctors and lawyers and tech workers who have money but aren't billionaires. You sell 100,000 of those over the next 5 years, while you continuously refine the technology and work directly with regulators to update their outdated frameworks. You lobby governments, you demonstrate perfect safety records, you create political pressure for regulatory change. By the time you're 10 or 12 years into this process, the technology is completely mature, the manufacturing is optimized, and costs have dropped dramatically. The regulations are established in all major markets. The infrastructure exists everywhere. Cities have built landing pads. Flight corridors are designated. It's normal. And you release the mass market version, the Model 3 equivalent of flying cars. Priced at maybe $80,000 or $90,000, where normal middle-class families can actually afford it, where it becomes normal everyday transportation that everyone uses. That's a 15-year timeline from first luxury Roadster to complete mass-market adoption, the exact same timeline. Tesla took from the original Roadster in 2008 to the Model 3 becoming the best-selling car on Earth in 2023, and it's starting right now. But there's another crucial piece of this puzzle that almost nobody is connecting. A piece that explains everything about why this is happening now, why Elon is willing to invest tens of billions of dollars in this technology right now instead of waiting another comfortable decade. Mars. Elon's ultimate goal has never been just about Earth. It's never been just about making better cars or cooler products, or even making money. It's about something much bigger. Making humanity a multiplanetary species. Building a self-sustaining civilization on another planet, so that if something catastrophic happens to Earth, humanity survives, and on Mars, everything flies. It has to. There's no choice. The atmosphere is incredibly thin. Just 1% the density of Earth's atmosphere. You can't breathe it. The gravity is only 38% of Earth's. Things weigh almost nothing. Roads make absolutely no sense when you can have vehicles that take off vertically and fly point to point using relatively little energy because gravity is so weak. If you're going to colonize Mars with 1 million people, like Elon plans, you need flying vehicles. Not as a luxury, not as a novelty, as the basic form of transportation that everyone uses every single day. The Martian equivalent of a Honda Civic. Boring, reliable, everyday transportation. And you can't wait until you actually get to Mars to figure that technology out. You can't develop it from scratch in a hostile alien environment where one mistake means everyone dies. You need to develop it here on Earth first. Perfect the autonomous systems. Solve all the engineering challenges. Scale the manufacturing to millions of units. Work out all the problems in a forgiving environment. Suddenly, the entire Tesla strategy becomes crystal clear. Develop flying vehicles for Earth using Earth's atmosphere and gravity as the challenging test case. Perfect the autonomous flight systems that will be even easier on Mars with its lower gravity. Scale the manufacturing so you can produce thousands of units per week cheaply and reliably, and you've simultaneously solved transportation infrastructure for 2 planets. For Earth and Mars, 1 development program, 2 civilizations. That's efficiency at a scale nobody else even thinks about. That's thinking at a completely different level than anyone else in the entire transportation industry. That's 50-year vision instead of 5-year planning. That's building civilization instead of building products. That's thinking like a species instead of thinking like a company. And the technology is converging at exactly the right moment. Multiple simultaneous breakthroughs happening all at once. Battery energy density is crossing the threshold Elon specified 5 years ago. Autonomous systems are getting reliable enough for commercial. Deployment after billions of miles of real-world testing. Manufacturing costs are dropping with scale and accumulated experience. Regulatory frameworks are being established by early movers who are proving safety works. China is already ahead in some areas, and they're not slowing down. They're accelerating. They have passenger drones operating in multiple cities right now carrying real paying passengers. EHang has conducted thousands of autonomous flights with perfect safety records. They have prototypes of flying cars with actual wheels being tested on actual public roads in real traffic. They're moving incredibly fast while Western countries debate regulations endlessly. While American politicians argue in committees, Chinese engineers build and deploy. Elon sees this happening in real time. He's watching Chinese companies deploy flying vehicles commercially, while American regulators argue about rules that don't exist yet for technology they don't understand. And he knows with absolute certainty that if Tesla doesn't lead in flying vehicles, they'll eventually lose their position as the world's premier transportation company. This isn't optional for Tesla's future. This isn't a side project they can postpone. This is existential. This is survival. This is about staying ahead instead of becoming the next Blockbuster or Kodak or Nokia, companies that completely dominated their industries until suddenly they didn't. Think about the business opportunity in just one sector. Package delivery. Amazon has been testing drone delivery for years with very limited success. Small drones carrying tiny packages, very short distances in perfect weather conditions. Now imagine Tesla drones that can carry 50 kilograms of cargo. That's 110 pounds. That can fly 100 kilometers on a single charge in any weather. That can navigate autonomously through rain and wind using advanced neural networks. That can land and drive the final distance through neighborhoods where flying isn't permitted yet. That's a complete revolution in logistics. A multi-trillion-dollar market transformation. It's faster than any ground delivery method, more efficient than human drivers who need breaks and sleep, more flexible than fixed delivery routes. The company that dominates that space will be larger than FedEx, UPS, and DHL combined. Emergency services. Think about this carefully. Ambulances stuck in traffic during rush hour while someone has a heart attack and dies. Fire trucks delayed by congestion when every second matters and people are trapped in burning buildings. Police unable to respond quickly because roads are blocked by accidents. These delays cost lives every single day. Thousands of completely preventable deaths every year because help can't arrive fast enough. We accept this as normal, but it doesn't have to be this way. Now imagine emergency vehicles that fly directly to any location. That take off from the hospital rooftop and land at the accident scene in 3 minutes instead of 25 stuck in traffic. That reduce response times from 30 minutes to 5 minutes. The lives saved would be measured in thousands every year, just in one city. Across the country, tens of thousands. Across the world, hundreds of thousands. The property damage prevented from faster fire response would be billions of dollars annually. Medical supply delivery to remote areas. Disaster response to locations with destroyed infrastructure, transporting critical materials between facilities, personal rapid transit for daily commutes, tourism and sightseeing, search and rescue operations, wildlife monitoring, infrastructure inspection. Every single one of these markets is worth billions of dollars annually, and Tesla is uniquely positioned to dominate all of them better than any competitor on Earth. They have the battery technology from 15 years of development, They have the autonomous systems from billions of miles of data. They have the manufacturing capability from producing millions of vehicles at scale. They have the brand trust from repeatedly delivering on impossible promises. What they need now is the regulatory space to deploy it commercially at scale. The permission from governments to operate flying vehicles above cities. And that's where the Roadster comes in strategically. By launching a high-end flying vehicle that wealthy people buy and fly privately, Tesla creates undeniable proof of concept that can't be dismissed. They demonstrate safety with thousands of flights and zero incidents. They generate massive public excitement and normalize the concept. And they pressure regulators to create frameworks that enable the technology instead of blocking it. This is the exact same strategy that worked perfectly for electric cars 15 years ago. When Tesla launched the original Roadster in 2008, electric vehicles were considered completely impractical by the entire established automotive industry. Too expensive, too limited in range, not real cars for real people, toys for environmentalists. Every major automaker had killed their electric car programs. GM literally crushed the EV1. Toyota stopped making the RAV4 EV. Nobody believed electric cars had any future whatsoever. The industry consensus was that electric vehicles would never work for normal consumers. Ever. Tesla proved everyone wrong. They showed electric could be fast, desirable, and practical. They made it cool instead of compromise. And within 15 years, every major automaker was scrambling desperately to build electric vehicles. The entire industry transformed, trillions of dollars shifted, and Tesla became the most valuable car company in the entire world. The same exact pattern is about to repeat with flying vehicles. The Roadster will prove it's possible and safe. It will create massive consumer demand. And 15 years from now, flying vehicles will be as common as electric cars are today. We'll look back at 2025 as the moment everything changed forever. The year flying cars stopped being a joke and started being infrastructure, and we're seeing it happen in real time. Think about Elon's track record. He said he'd make electric cars mainstream when experts said consumers would never buy them. He did it. Model 3 became the best-selling car in the world. He said he'd land rockets vertically when engineers said it violated physics. He did it. SpaceX now launches more payload than everyone else combined. He said he'd build the world's largest satellite constellation when companies laughed at the economics. He did it. Starlink has over 5 million subscribers. Now he's saying transportation will fly. And everyone's doubting him again. The exact same people who've been consistently wrong about every prediction they've made about Elon for 20 years. The April unveiling is going to shock people, not because the technology is surprising to aerospace engineers, but because most people still don't believe flying cars are real. They're about to discover the future arrived while they weren't looking. This isn't just about shareholders getting wealthy. This is about humanity taking another genuine leap forward, about fundamentally transforming how we move through three-dimensional space, about our children growing up in a world where flying to work is as normal as driving is today. The technology exists today. The companies are building production lines right now. The timeline is 15 years from luxury to mainstream, and it's starting right now this year with a Roadster reveal that might just change everything. So when April 1st comes and Elon unveils what he's been working on in secret, pay very close attention, not just to the spectacle and performance specs. Pay attention to what it represents, the beginning of a new era in human transportation, the moment when flying cars stopped being impossible dreams and started becoming infrastructure. We're not getting a flying car. We're getting a flying car industry, a whole new category of transportation that will reshape cities, transform global logistics, and redefine human mobility. And it's all starting with one audacious reveal on the most ironic day possible, April Fool's Day, the day when nobody knows what to believe, which makes it the perfect day to show them the impossible has become real. The future isn't coming. It's already here. Some of us are just starting to notice. So, what technology amazes you the most? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and we reply to all comments. And remember, we upload videos almost daily, covering the latest breakthroughs in technology. Subscribe now, so you don't miss anything. The future is moving faster than ever. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.